My name is Clifford Mallory. I'm 42 years old, and I live in Vancouver, Washington. I work as a financial analyst for a mid-sized investment firm downtown, making $115,000 a year. It's not glamorous work, but it taught me something invaluable. Patience and precision always beat impulsiveness and emotion. I met Evelyn Harcourt at a charity fundraiser in spring 2019. She was 30, working as a marketing coordinator for a local tech startup. I was 36. She had this energy that made you want to be near her. We started dating that summer, moved in together within 6 months, and by Christmas 2020, during a quiet pandemic holiday, I proposed at a viewpoint overlooking the gorge. She said yes without hesitation, tears streaming down her face. It was one of those moments you think you'll remember forever for all the right reasons. We weren't wealthy, but we were comfortable. I made around $88,000 back then. Evelyn pulled in about $51,000. We rented a 2-bedroom apartment in Cascade Park, $1,400 a month. I covered about 60% since I earned more. We saved where we could, cooked at home, took weekend trips to the coast. We talked about buying a house, maybe starting a family. Normal dreams. Evelyn had this habit. Every Wednesday, she'd stop at the 7-Eleven on Mill Plain Boulevard and buy 5 lottery tickets. She called it her retirement plan, laughing as she tucked them into her wallet. I never discouraged her. $10 a week wasn't going to break us. I'm a numbers guy. I knew the odds. 1 in 292 million for Powerball. But people play anyway, and hope is cheap at $2 a ticket. In early March 2022, Evelyn's Wednesday ritual paid off. She matched all 6 numbers on a Mega Millions ticket she'd bought across the river in Oregon. The jackpot was $83 million. After choosing the cash option and taxes, the lump sum came to roughly $25 million. I still remember the moment she checked the numbers that Thursday morning. Her hands shook so badly she could barely hold her phone. "Cliff, I think I won." I looked at the numbers, then at the ticket. They matched. Every single one. If you enjoy stories of cold-blooded revenge and gripping plot twists, like this video, and subscribe to the channel now. There are brand new, unreleased stories here every day, each one more intense than the last. The first few days were surreal. Evelyn claimed the prize at the Oregon Lottery office in Salem, a 2-week process with lawyers and financial advisors swarming around her. I went to most meetings wanting to help her navigate the decisions. Lump sum or annuity? Tax efficiency? Which advisors to trust? These were questions I dealt with professionally. She seemed grateful at first, squeezing my hand during meetings. "I don't know what I'd do without you," she said one evening. I believed her. I thought we were partners. The money hit her account on a Tuesday morning in late March 2022. By Wednesday afternoon, everything changed. I came home from work around 6, carrying takeout from her favorite Thai place. The apartment was too quiet. Her car was gone, her closet empty, bathroom products gone. The framed photos of us that had lined the hallway were missing, leaving faint squares of unfaded paint. On the dining table, she'd left a single sheet of paper. "Cliff, I need to figure out my life now. This money changes everything. I can't be tied down anymore. I'm sorry. Please don't try to contact me. Evelyn." That was it. No explanation. No conversation. No acknowledgement of 3 years together. Just a note like she was canceling a subscription service. I stood there reading those words over and over. I didn't cry or shout. I just felt this cold, hollow sensation spreading through my chest. She was gone. I sat down and thought about what came next. My first instinct wasn't revenge. It was survival. I pulled out my laptop and started going through our financials. We'd kept separate bank accounts, but over the years we'd made joint investments. I'd contributed $22,000 toward a down payment fund, and another $15,000 into a joint brokerage account I'd been managing. The apartment lease was in both our names, but I'd been covering 60% of the rent. I'd also paid for the engagement ring outright, a white gold band with a 1-carat diamond that cost $7,800. I wasn't going to let her walk away with everything. I called my lawyer the next morning, Roger Fenimore, a guy I'd worked with on estate planning. I explained the situation. He listened, then said, "She left you the day after the money cleared?" I confirmed. He laughed bitterly. "Clifford, you've got options." Roger explained what I already knew but needed to hear from legal authority. I had clear claims to my documented contributions to our joint accounts. I had bank statements going back 3 years proving every deposit. As for the engagement ring, Washington case law generally treats engagement rings as conditional gifts. When an engagement ends, especially when the recipient breaks it off, courts often require the ring returned. "She can't just walk away and pretend you don't exist," Roger said. "You've got solid claims. If she refuses to negotiate, we go to court. Lottery winners hate public legal battles." Roger drafted a 3-page letter citing Washington state case law, listing every joint account and my contributions, and demanding $37,000, my total documented contributions, plus the engagement ring valued at $7,800. He sent it certified mail to Evelyn's parents' house in Camas, where her lottery claim forms listed her address. 3 days later, a lawyer named Todd Pritchard called. Young, eager, thrilled to represent a lottery winner. "My client wishes to resolve this amicably. She's willing to return the joint account funds. However, she will not return the engagement ring. She considers it a gift." I kept my voice even. The ring was given in anticipation of marriage. Washington law treats such rings as conditional gifts. She can return it, or we can let a judge decide. Pause. 5 days later, Pritchard called back. Evelyn would return everything within 72 hours in exchange for a release waiving further claims. Roger read through it. Standard. I signed. By week's end, $37,000 appeared in my checking account, and the ring arrived via FedEx. I sold it 2 weeks later for $6,500. I didn't gloat. I didn't call Evelyn. I simply moved forward. I found a 1-bedroom apartment in Felida for $1,550 a month, bought new furniture, updated my retirement contributions, put the recovered funds into a diversified portfolio. Life continued. I went to work, hit the gym, met friends for drinks. I dated casually. I wasn't bitter. I was done. Meanwhile, Evelyn's life took a different trajectory. Vancouver is small in practice, and people talk. By late April 2022, word spread that Evelyn had bought a 4-bedroom estate in Waterford near Ridgefield for $2.4 million. Pool, 3-car garage, 2 acres. Instagram posts showed her at housewarming parties, looking radiant, untouchable. Good for her, I thought. She'd won the lottery. What bothered me wasn't the money. It was the callousness. But her choices were hers to make, and consequences would be hers to face. In June, I heard she'd quit her job. No notice. Posted on Instagram about living her best life and embracing freedom. By July, the stories grew stranger. A Mercedes-Benz GLE, $82,000. Designer clothes, jewelry, house renovations running into hundreds of thousands. She posted it all online. In early August, she took a vacation to Bora Bora. First-class flights, overwater bungalow, 2 weeks. Close to $30,000. The Instagram posts kept coming. Champagne at sunset, private tours. I wondered who was advising her. 25 million sounds substantial, but it's not infinite. Spend recklessly and it evaporates. There are countless stories of lottery winners going bankrupt within a decade. Then mid-August 2022, a mutual friend named Julie Tremont texted, "Have you heard about Evelyn's new investment guy?" She sent me a link to a local news article. The headline read, "Local lottery winner partners with investment firm for wealth management." The photo showed Evelyn shaking hands with a man named Darren Volkman. Early 40s, tan, slicked back hair, rehearsed smile. Founder of Volkman Capital Group, a boutique investment firm. Evelyn was quoted, "Darren understands my vision for the future." I looked up Volkman Capital Group, polished but vague website, stock photos, buzzwords like innovative strategies but no specifics, no client testimonials, no track record. I ran a search on Darren Volkman. His LinkedIn showed short-term positions at various firms, none lasting more than 2 years. No CFA, no CFP certification, just a smooth website and promises. This guy was a predator. I knew the type. They circle lottery winners like sharks. I thought about warning Evelyn, but then I remembered her note. Please don't try to contact me. She'd made her choice. I closed the browser and went back to my life. By September 2022, rumors intensified. Evelyn had invested heavily with Volkman, more than half her winnings, $15, maybe $16 million. Volkman promised returns of 15 to 20% annually, far above market averages. Real estate ventures, international markets, cutting-edge opportunities, too good to be true because it was. Through fall 2022, Volkman kept up appearances, monthly statements showing impressive gains, reassuring calls. Evelyn posted about her investment success online. Then, mid-October, cracks started showing. Evelyn mentioned to friends that she'd requested a withdrawal, and Volkman's response was evasive. Liquidity windows. Market timing. Emails assured her everything was fine. By late October, his responses became less frequent. Calls went to voicemail. On November 2nd, Volkman Capital Group's website went dark. Darren Volkman's phone was disconnected. His office was empty. The landlord told reporters Volkman had paid through September and disappeared. The funds Evelyn had invested with Volkman, $15.7 million, were gone, evaporated into offshore accounts and shell companies. The story hit local news in early November. Lottery winner loses millions in investment scam. Evelyn declined to comment. Her lawyer released a statement expressing devastation. The FBI and SEC got involved. But everyone knew the money was gone. I didn't feel satisfaction. I felt sadness. Evelyn had been given a gift most people only dream about and squandered it through arrogance and poor judgment. She'd trusted a con artist because he told her what she wanted to hear. I went about my life. Work continued. Markets were volatile that fall. I spent long hours analyzing portfolios, managing risk. When I thought about Evelyn, it was with detached curiosity, like reading about a stranger's misfortune. In late November 2022, I spent Thanksgiving with my parents in Longview, about 50 miles north of Vancouver. They'd heard about Evelyn, everyone had, and my mother asked if I was okay. I was fine. "You're better off without her," she said. My father raised his beer in agreement. In mid-December, Julie Tremont and I met for lunch. She looked uncomfortable. "Evelyn's in bad shape, Cliff. Really bad." Evelyn had tried to keep up appearances after the scam, but by December she'd sold the Mercedes. The Ridgefield house was bleeding money. She'd borrowed heavily for renovations and couldn't keep up with mortgage and property taxes. She'd maxed out credit cards trying to maintain her lifestyle. "She's been calling old friends asking for loans," Julie said. "A few hundred at first. By January, thousands. She's desperate." Julie asked if Evelyn had mentioned me. "She asked if I'd talk to you. Too proud to reach out directly, but hoping I'd pass along a message." I told Julie I wasn't interested. Evelyn had made her choices. I'd moved on. We finished lunch talking about other things. On a cold evening later that month, I was leaving the gym around 8 when my phone buzzed. Unknown number. "Hello? Cliff?" The voice was tentative, shaky. "Evelyn." Long pause. She was trying not to cry. "I'm sorry to bother you. I know you probably don't want to hear from me, but I didn't know who else to call." I waited. "I made a mistake. A huge mistake. I lost everything, Cliff. The money, the house, everything. I was stupid and I trusted the wrong person, and now I'm completely alone. I've been trying to figure out what to do, but I can't think straight anymore." I stood in the parking lot, cold air biting my face. I could have hung up. Part of me wanted to, but I let her talk. "I know I don't deserve your help. I know what I did was unforgivable, but I'm begging you, Cliff, please. I need someone who understands money. I'll pay you back, I swear. I just need advice." I took a breath. "Evelyn, I'm not a financial advisor for people in crisis. You need a bankruptcy attorney, credit counseling services. There are resources." "I've tried," she said, voice rising. They all want money up front and I don't have any. My credit cards are maxed. I can't afford groceries. I'm staying with my parents because I lost the house. Do you understand what that feels like? To go from everything to nothing? I thought about the note she'd left, the way she'd walked out without a word. The 3 years together, discarded like they meant nothing. I thought about the months I'd spent rebuilding while she posted photos of her mansion and luxury vacations. And I thought about the choice she'd made when she had $25 million and decided she didn't need me. "Evelyn," I said, my voice calm and steady. "You made a choice. You chose to leave. You chose to cut me out. You chose to ignore every basic principle of financial responsibility. Those were your decisions, and these are the consequences. I'm sorry you're struggling, but I can't help you." Silence. Then quietly, "So that's it? You're just going to let me drown?" "I'm not letting you do anything. You did this to yourself. I protected what was mine, and I moved on. That's all." She started to say something else, but I ended the call. I stood there for a moment, then drove home. I didn't hear from Evelyn again. Through Julie and others, I learned the rest. By late December, the bank sent a notice of default on the Ridgefield house. In January 2023, formal foreclosure proceedings began. In May 2023, the trustee sale happened and she lost the property. She'd been living with her parents since early March. In June 2023, she filed for Chapter 7 bankruptcy, wiping out over $300,000 in debt. She found work eventually, a low-level administrative job at a dental office in Camas, making about $34,000 a year, a far cry from the life she'd imagined. People around Vancouver talked about her story for months. Some felt sorry. Others saw it as a cautionary tale. A few even suggested I'd orchestrated her downfall, as if I'd planted Volkman or manipulated her decisions. Absurd. I'd done nothing but protect my interests and walk away. The rest was all her. Evelyn destroyed herself. Her arrogance, impulsiveness, refusal to listen to expertise, those were the real culprits. Volkman was just the instrument. He found a mark who thought she was smarter than she was and exploited that weakness. It's a story as old as money itself. By spring 2023, I'd stopped thinking about Evelyn. My life had moved forward. I'd been promoted in February to senior analyst, salary bump to $106,000. I'd started seeing someone new, Rebecca, a physical therapist I'd met through a friend. Smart, grounded, no interest in lottery tickets or get-rich-quick schemes. We took things slow. One evening in late April 2023, Rebecca and I were having dinner downtown when I saw Evelyn across the room at the bar, nursing white wine. She looked older, tired, plain clothes, nothing like the designer outfits she used to post. She glanced in my direction. Our eyes met briefly. I saw recognition there and something else. Regret, maybe. Shame. I looked away and turned my attention back to Rebecca. Evelyn didn't approach. She finished her drink, paid, and left. I never saw her again. Looking back from September 2025, I understand what happened more clearly. Evelyn's story wasn't unique. It followed a pattern I'd seen in case studies and news articles about lottery winners and sudden wealth. Someone receives a windfall, believes the money makes them invincible, ignores professional advice, surrounds themselves with wrong people, and loses everything. The common thread isn't the money. It's the belief that money solves all problems and eliminates the need for discipline, patience, and sound judgment. Evelyn believed the lottery win made her special, untouchable. She thought $25 million was enough to insulate her from consequences. She was wrong. The world doesn't care how much money you have. It cares about the decisions you make. She could have kept me in her life. Not as a romantic partner, but as an advisor, a friend who understood finance. Instead, she cut me out completely. That decision alone probably cost her millions. If she'd asked for input before meeting Volkman, I would have run a background check in 10 minutes. I would have seen the red flags and told her to walk away. But she didn't ask, and I didn't volunteer, because she'd made clear she didn't need me. Some people interpret my silence as calculated revenge. That's not accurate. I didn't watch her at all. I was busy living my own life. Her collapse happened in the background, a distant storm I heard about secondhand. I felt no joy in it, just weary resignation, another cautionary tale. People ask if I feel vindicated. The answer is no. Vindication implies I was fighting to prove something I wasn't. I simply moved on. I took what was legally mine, rebuilt my life, and let her make her choices. The consequences she faced were natural outcomes, not punishments I inflicted. That $37,000 I recovered? To Evelyn, with $25 million, it was trivial. She probably saw my legal claim as petty. But to me, it was principle. That money represented years of disciplined saving, planning for a future I thought we'd share. It wasn't about the amount, it was about refusing to be erased. I stood up for myself through the legal system, with documentation and facts. And I won because I was right. That $37,000 became part of my rebuilt foundation. I invested it conservatively. By mid-2025, it had grown to just over $44,000. Not a fortune, but steady, reliable growth. Meanwhile, Evelyn's $25 million had evaporated. Rebecca and I have been together over 2 years now. We moved in together in early 2024, sharing a 2-bedroom apartment in Felida. My salary increased steadily. $112,000 by then, now at $115,000. It's going well. She knows about Evelyn. I told her early on. Rebecca's response was simple. Sounds like you dodged a bullet. She didn't pry, didn't gossip. She accepted it as part of my history and moved on. We talk about the future carefully. She wants to open her own physical therapy practice. I'm thinking about pursuing a CFA designation. We both value stability, planning, working toward goals instead of waiting for windfalls. We split expenses fairly. We communicate openly. It's the kind of relationship I thought I had with Evelyn, but it turns out I didn't. What I had with Evelyn was an illusion, a partnership that only functioned as long as she needed something from me. I don't hate Evelyn. I don't wish her harm. I hope she's learned something. I hope she's rebuilding her credit, living within her means, found some humility. But that's not my responsibility. She's not my problem. She hasn't been for over 3 years. People sometimes ask if I think about what life would have been like if Evelyn hadn't won the lottery. The honest answer is no. That version doesn't exist. It was built on a rotten foundation. The lottery didn't change Evelyn. It revealed who she really was. Under pressure, given the option to be loyal or selfish, she chose selfish. The money just made that choice possible sooner. Eventually, her true nature would have surfaced. Better it happened before marriage, before kids, before deeper entanglement. In that sense, the lottery was a gift. Not to her, but to me. It freed me from a relationship that would have failed eventually. I'm 42 years old. I have a good job, solid financial foundation, and a relationship with someone who values what I do. I live in a comfortable apartment, drive a 10-year-old Honda Accord, save 15% of my income. I'm not rich or famous, but I'm content, secure, free. Evelyn's story will follow her forever. People in Vancouver will remember her as the woman who won the lottery and lost it all. That's her legacy. My story is quieter. I'm the guy who got dumped by a lottery winner and landed on his feet. Not headline material, but I'm fine with that. I never wanted headlines. I wanted a stable, honest life. And that's exactly what I have. Sometimes late at night I think about that phone call in December 2022. Evelyn's voice shaky and desperate. I think about my choice to say no. Part of me wonders if I should have done more. But then I remember the note. Please don't try to contact me. She drew that boundary. I honored it. When she tried to cross back when convenient, I held firm. That wasn't cruelty. That was self-preservation. The world doesn't owe anyone a safety net, especially not people who set their own on fire. Evelyn had resources, family, access to professionals. She chose to ignore all of it. She chose to believe a con artist over people who cared. Those choices have consequences. I didn't create them. I just refused to shield her from them. If there's a lesson, it's simple. Character matters more than money. Discipline matters more than luck. And when someone shows you who they really are, believe them the first time. Evelyn showed me she was willing to discard me the moment I became inconvenient. I believed her. I walked away, and I never looked back. That's not revenge, that's just common sense. If you enjoyed this story, like this video and leave a comment telling me what you thought. And if you're not already subscribed, please subscribe and hit the notification bell for new stories like this one. Thanks for watching, and see you next time.